Hello subscribers, this is yours truly, JBlue68, and I want to say hello to all my subscribers. Thank you to all my subscribers as I continue to grow. Please hit that like button and continue to share and tap that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a bit of news or a comic book haul or a unboxing into your feed immediately. Well, unfortunately, I have a bit of bad news. All the good news that I have heard and things I've done over this weekend, and it has to deal with the comic book world. I'm sure you probably all have seen or heard right now the news flashing all over the internet like wildfire that Marvel will no longer be doing any more Spider-Man films. I'm very pissed about this information, and I don't know. It's like every time we get a step forward in the comic book world, we get taken 2, 3, or 5 steps back. As we heard during SDCC, which of course is the San Diego Comic-Con, that Marvel has finally acquired both the Fantastic Four and the X-Men franchises, and they had a hold of the Spider-Man franchise, which they had been trying to get pry loose from Sony for some time. Sony had, of course, complete ownership of the Spider-Man franchise, and they were finally able to work out something with Marvel, owned by Disney, to co-own the character and include Spider-Man in their under the MCU, under the direction or under director Tom Watts, I believe his name is, and of course actor Tom Holland. Well, that is no longer. As I read today that Sony's pulling the Spider-Man character back under the Sony helm, and will not be sharing that character with the MCU any longer. The official news says that Disney wanted future Spider-Man films to be a 50-50 co-financing arrangement between the studios, that being, of course, Sony and MCU, or Sony and Disney, I should say. And there were discussions that this might extend into other films in the Spider-Man universe, as was hinted to in this Spider-Man movie here, Spider-Man Far From Home, where they talked about and introduced the multiverse, and of course, the character Mysterio. Sony, however, turned that offer down flat, as their team, led by Tom Rothman and Tony Vincent-Querra, they don't want to give half of their profits to the franchise. Sony, Sony, they proposed another deal, which did not work with Disney. Sony proposed keeping the arrangement going under its current terms, where the Marvel franchise, Marvel Disney, receives in the range of 5% of first dollar gross. Disney refused that offer. As a result, Sony has essentially nixed Kevin Feige and Marvel from any more involvement in the Spider-Man universe. Sources indicate there are 2 more Spider-Man films in the works that are meant to have director John Watts and Tom Holland front and center. And unless something dramatic happens, Feige won't be the lead creative producer on these pictures. And, this is such BS. This is like the third freaking time, that comic book fans of the Spider-Man character, get shafted from the first Spider-Man films with Martin Scorsese and the actor from that movie, to Mark Webb and the Spider-Man films done under him, which were the Amazing Spider-Man films, all the way up to this movie. It's like, I don't know, they just can't seem to freaking get it right. And in the middle of all this dispute, it's the fans suffer. It's just really bad. And when it comes down to it, it's about dollars and cents. Now, I know Kevin Feige probably really fought, I'm sure he fought very hard for fans, being that he's not only, the CEO of Marvel, but he's also a Disney fan. Even Bob Iger, who's the head CEO of Disney Entertainment, I'm sure he's also a fan of the franchise. These guys are really, really into making fine movies for us, and they want to bring us the best of entertainment, the best of stories, the best of character representation as possible. Having seen Kevin Feige several times, I know the guy definitely is a fan of all the characters in the Marvel Universe, and I'm sure he hates this deal more than anyone. Sony, on the other hand, I don't know. I think they're about dollars and cents. Because that last movie they put out with about Venom, that movie was shit, and I'm sorry to curse, it was. And if that's what they're going to be doing, in terms of the Spider-Man character for future franchises, I'm out, and I don't want to see another revamping of the Spider-Man character. I don't want to see another reboot of Spider-Man. They've rebooted the character 3 times. And again, I apologize for cursing. I don't like cursing on my YouTube channel. I try not to do that because I know children might be watching too. But I'm a true deep comic book fan. I'm a fan of the MCU, big time, and a big time Marvel, a fan of the comic books as well. So to hear this happen just really moves me to just frustration. I feel this is personal. I take it personal. Although I don't work for Marvel, I don't work for Disney, but I'm, again, a big fan, as I'm sure many of you are. That's why you subscribe to my channel, and you subscribe to other channels out there that deal with, comic book movies and comic books and, the world that we love and cherish so much. So here we go again on a rocky road when it comes to another superhero franchise. Spider-Man is, world-renowned character, a very popular character, and I think that this just knocks things back to square one. We're back where we started from, which is being empty-handed with no Spider-Man. I'm just hoping that someone will give for the care and love of the fans. I was wondering why Kevin Feige didn't say anything about the Marvel Phase 5 films during San Diego Comic-Con. That's probably the reason why, is because he already knew that this was transpiring between Sony and Disney, Disney and Marvel, that they were not able to work out a deal. And that's probably the reason why, one of the reasons why. This is me just assuming why he didn't announce anything about the Phase 5 films during San Diego Comic-Con. Now, my only thing is, my speculation with this is to save Marvel from a debacle with all of this. One of the best things about this movie here, Spider-Man Far From Home, is that it introduced Mysterio, and it also introduced the multiverse. That being said, is that Marvel has the Doctor Strange movie coming out, which will be called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And then with the Thanos thing, with him basically eradicating all life across the galaxy, and what was also called the blip in Spider-Man Far From Home, it's possible, very much so, that they could use that storyline to their advantage and say that Spider-Man, was blipped away after his. If you've seen Spider-Man Far From Home, you know that Spider-Man his secret identity is revealed. So they can do just like they did in the Spider-Man animated movie and just do the multiverse, put Spider-Man in another universe, Earth 810 or 912 or whatever it was called in the movie, and also called in the comic books. And also will be a fine time for them to finally introduce Miles Morales. That, to me, is how they can save the franchise. We've been wanting to see Miles Morales for the longest. Maybe this is the time to actually do that, since we've already got, Spider-Man retconned and revamped and rebooted 3 times, Peter Parker. Of course, you can't necessarily replace Spider-Man with any character, not even Miles Morales. I'm a Spider-Man fan myself, but I'm just saying this would probably be the perfect time to do that. Whether they save the Spider-Man franchise under the MCU helm or not, they can introduce Miles Morales. Okay, well, that's it. That's all, y'all. And again, I apologize for cursing. I'm just frustrated and fed up with this whole thing You know, with the superhero properties, you know, no one wants to play fair. No one wants to play well. No one wants to give in. You know, between Universal, Sony Studios, and I don't know, a couple of others, um, just in 20th Century Fox, just don't want to play fair, you know, and give the fans what they want. It's all about dollars and cents. Well, I hope, despite this bad, dour news, you all have a good evening, a good afternoon, good morning, wherever time and place it is in the world that you are in. Peace, love, and hair grease.